I'll let that music ring throughout your ears for a bit there, cause, it's time once again for Tinker Tailor's Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. I have an intense man sitting next to me once again here. Welcome back, Alex.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm excited.
I am also excited.
I'm very, very stoked. I grossly underestimated just how much work this was going to be, and I'm still doing that. Because like the first stream, I was like, I can do some of this. And then I was like, And I spent like the last couple of weeks working at this on and off, and boy, I've learned a lot of things, and I've made many mistakes.
And
I've learned from those as well.
A lot of positive work here too.
All this, so you saw last time all the lumber that I sawed, and that lumber has been transformed into mostly finished parts.
Oh, I'm extremely excited for this.
I see many tabs and many slots.
Yes. So before last Tinker Tailor, I had never chopped a mortise in my life, and I did the really terrible one.
Oh, you did some, you
did some okay ones.
On here.
But I have since been practicing, and we're getting a little better.
Yep, I can see them starting to even out.
Yeah, they're still pretty rough, and I'm still getting splinters. But these, I believe, are all sized correctly.
And as you said, this is your first hand-tooled project in terms of woodworking.
It is. So I've done lots of stuff.
Well, before we get into that too much, I do want to remind people that, of course, this is a Let's Try program, and if you would like to try to play along at home, you can try by supporting us, by going over to patreon.com/loadingreadyrun and chucking us a few bucks there. Thank you to everyone who is already in the Patreon, and to all those who are not, thanks for watching. Happy to have you here regardless. So patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That said, I want to remind people of what we're working on here. What is this pile of parts, Alex?
It's a 1792 guillotine.
It's grilling time.
It's a guillotine. We're building a 1/5 scale guillotine.
Functional guillotine.
A real, actual, made of red oak, brass, steel, little bit of cordage, and some lead, which was the biggest pain in the ass to work with. I'm never doing it again.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I'll show you that part later, but the award for part that I thought was going to be the easiest to make, that was the biggest just
pain in the lead.
Yeah, it sucks because its melting point is so low, any amount of friction will cause it to turn into goop.
And frequent Tinker Tailor viewers will remember from last time you saw you tooling a piece of lead.
Yes.
And that
using very slow cutting speed because I didn't cast it properly. It was anyway, but it should be behaved at this point.
Great.
So how about a dry fit?
I think so. So when last we were here, we managed to cut a mortise, and
we got part of the way through some of these. So the original ones, these are called the bulks for some
and those
reason.
are the feet.
Yeah, these are these are the main feet. Okay. You'll notice that these are not the original ones. I realized that cedar was way too soft.
Ah, good. Okay. I was worried you were going to say our measurements were off because we were doing really good.
Those were also off.
Oh God.
Well, what? No, I was off. I have a little bit to trim off the end of these, but this is all, I believe, correct.
So, because the isometric angle in the plans is a little bit wonky for trying to measure.
It's a little weird,
and
there's some pages where the drawings don't show you important measurements. They just imply them by showing where other objects are in relation to it. So you have to math it out.
Oh man!
You can't rely on just eyeballing.
Yeah, it's a pain. So then. These uprights were probably the most work.
So it's partially cedar and partially red oak?
No, it's all red oak.
Oh, okay. So you
no more cedar.
You were going to make it out of cedar, but you've decided
but
you switched.
the legs I found enough material to get cedar. These parts were weirdly a pain in the ass to make as well, because just something about the dimensions that they were versus the availability of lumber worked out that I had to laminate these. So if you look very closely, you can see there's a line where an upper and lower portion were put on.
Right.
They're also like...
But that's a perfectly valid woodworking technique.
Yeah. No, I learned a lot about laminating.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I guess there's the standard sizes of lumber, but you need 1/5 of that standard size.
It's also more like the kind of lumber I had access to was like hobby pieces. So the largest piece was 2x2, and these were like just a little tiny bit more. So anyway, I got these worked out and planed down to about the same height. I had a little bit of an accident with the planer.
Oh no!
Right here.
That's a slight indent.
Luckily, that's going to be on the bottom where nobody will see it. But yeah, I was using the machine planer, and then I finished these with a hand planer, which was cool. So these are now close enough in height that they're basically the same. So
Close
these
enough for taking down the government work.
So I'm noticing that the mortises,
Yes.
are they whole parts? The holes in the tendons are the...
Yeah, the mortise
tabs?
is the hole, and then the tenon is the...
The tongue.
So I'm noticing the mortise is, it's the ones near the end are not straight through. They're like more on an angle.
That's correct.
That is... I'm
by
assuming that's
design.
intentional.
The reason for that is because the uprights are cut at an angle.
Oh, right. So those are like reinforcing...
Yeah, it will all make sense momentarily. So the next part that was the most work was these uprights, because they have a lot of complicated slot work. And the one area where I cheated is this long one here.
Did you take a router?
No, I used the mill. Which I suppose is just sort of like super overkill. Like, technically the correct tool to do this is a router, but I used a mill.
I mean, a router is just a weirdly positioned mill.
I kind of should have used a router because these were so long, they went beyond the bed range of travel.
So you had to...
So I had to like run it and then run it back, move the piece, and then run it some more.
Oh no!
But we get really, really nice, clean, straight slots.
And that's the important thing, because that's the blade path,
That's
right?
yeah, that's the blade path. So these two go like that.
Slot in fairly nicely.
I did test fit a bunch of this, so I won't look like a complete asshole.
You don't say that.
So, so this is the cross piece, and so this fits like that and like that.
Okay, and then already it's...
So already it's starting to take, yeah. So then there's 4 of these, which was interesting. There's one dimension on these that might need a little bit of shimming, but I believe they all fit correctly. So these little sort of stop tabs go into the structure like meow.
Thusly, okay.
We'll check this for squareness a bunch later. And then these two go like meow. One of the things that we're hopefully going to be doing this stream is pinning all of these.
So nothing gets to come out accidentally.
Yeah, well, we want to establish a nice dry fit, and then we're going to drill and put pegs into everything.
Make it true, then keep it true.
Yes, make it true. Oh, right.
And then is the actual attachment just glue at that point?
No, it's friction.
Oh.
So then it could be dismantled if need be. There's a few pieces that are glued together, but I like it being able to be taken apart, so then it can sort of be flat packed. I just need to check
In case you need to take it on bus.
directionality. Yeah, right. So this goes up. The first time I cut this, I was way off on one of these slots, so I had to repair it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's good. Actually, before I do that, I wasn't happy with the
Ooh, let me get out on the camera for that.
what were the pulley wheels that I did the first time. So I made new ones, and these ones are way better.
Sorry. I was down on their nuts.
Really?
Those are smooth.
So yeah, these are they're much more consistent, and they're much just sort of like better suited to purpose.
So those are custom done on the lathe.
Yes, I put those together on the lathe.
Fancy.
And so they combo with the hardware that I had already made last time, and this will all install into these slots here. So we take this, and the angle on this was really interesting because it's like it rides very high in this mortise or channel or whatever it's called, because the pulley has to actually go just the slightest amount over the top, which you'll see why in a second.
Yeah, I'm curious as to why.
I was really stoked putting together this stuff. I have another set of these nuts that took me forever, and they're not fully finalized, but so.
And that's your cord.
So that goes like there.
For some reason, it didn't occur to me that there would be like pulleys involved.
My thought too was just a single string that would just get pulled up, I guess, over.
Come on.
But it's like, you know, this is the like, it's like, sure, you know, you can do it with a piece of string if you're only going to be chopping like, you know, one or two things. But if you want this baby to last, you want to get some high volume of chopping done.
We've got
you gotta get some good components.
We have
in there.
a lot of Aristo pig dogs to slice their heads off of.
Yeah. And the proletariat needs all the help they can get from physics.
It's true. This device essentially kills you using gravity. This would not work in space.
It's funny you should mention that, Alex.
Oh yeah?
Just the other night, I was watching the only Gundam series to feature, or the first Gundam series at least, to feature a guillotine. It was
Really?
Victory Gundam.
That's amazing.
Yeah, unfortunately, no one in space. They had to use it on Earth, and then they had to use a Gundam to kind of
So
smash
funny.
it, I guess.
Oh darn. I need something else to...
Something heavy to.
Well, you'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, this is like...
Oh, that sounds nice.
That's technically an imperfection which I will not be fixing.
the like
There's like...
Slight tick.
Yep.
Now I kind of want the like, you know, the hardcore guillotine user to like, you know, put a little playing card on the top of the guillotine to give it that little like you put it in the spokes of your bicycle.
Yeah.
I might need to change the direction of this because there's like just the slightest bit of like splay on it.
Well, that's these hand-built things. Is they're every piece is individual.
Oh, maybe I got it back to front. Come on now. This is basically what the stream is going to be like, is just dry fitting everything.
But that's the important part of the final stages of building.
Yeah.
Getting it together,
And then you're like, oh, okay, this all is...
Because once you drill the holes,
There we
that's
go.
it. That's how
I
it
think that's better.
fits together forever.
Still a little like dog-eared, but that's fine. This little component on the back here is about 16 millimeters too short, but that's fine because I think I brought enough stock that we can put a little riser on there.
So what is that component?
I'm glad you asked, Paul. This holds it. So this is the weird part of this build, because once I started like dry fitting a lot of stuff, and I got a sense for like how the whole thing holds together, it's the like interdependency is bizarre. Because so this, the bascule, I think, which is, it fits into this slot, and this on its own will just fall out. We will need to install the holders at some point, which I haven't done yet, but they're like these metal strips that will hold both parts in. I'm hoping that
they look just like a smaller hacksaw blade.
Yeah, kind of, because like the this is so that the top part can go like
go up and down.
but yeah, that holds that in, and that is important because it
Provides
is where
support
that
for that piece.
sits. And oh, this is upside down. So this assembly, which is actually several pieces, is where there's a sliding part here that fits into these. These were also like, I actually think I did these grooves by hand, which I'm very chuffed about. So this component slides, and there's a hinge that I still haven't made because making a hinge would be insanity.
Right, but
Which is of course why I'm gonna do it eventually. But honestly though, I did shop around to try and find a suitable hinge, but it's very, very, very small. It's like a dollhouse hinge. So there's a hinge there
finally
that
realized.
attaches to this part that I haven't cut to size. But the way the guillotine works is there's like a bed, and the condemned stands against it, and then they are tipped down into position and then slid
Slid up.
forward, and then the thing is
so
closed.
it's fully automated.
It's really quite clever, actually.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is there's clearly been a fair amount of like iteration on the thing. Like it's like, you know,
Now you say that, but like this was apparently like the first version by
Wow.
like the harpsichord designer. It's on the
but
first page there.
Somebody's clearly, I guess, you know, somebody saw a bunch of executions happening, took some notes, and was like, you know, I can
Yeah.
do this. I can figure this out better.
So, I don't have the parts for the release mechanism. However, I saved the best for last
Hello.
because just today I finished the handmade screw bolts
Oh, wow.
for this assembly, and I'm going to pop one of these out just so you can
Bonk in.
see it. I'm going to try and pull it out because the fit is very tight, which is good because you need it to be solid.
So this whole thing was originally designed to not only be put together without nails and screws, but also to be able to be disassembled.
I guess so.
So it could be, I guess, moved and set up.
So
in
I made
places.
these today
Ooh.
out of just steel rod. I made a bolt heading tool, which is, this is just like a piece of mild steel with a hole through it. And I'm not going to try to cram that in there because it's threaded now, so it's wide. But I took some 35 millimeter pieces of 3/16 rod and heated one end up until it was as hot as it would go, and then dropped them in here so that just a little bit protrudes. Just wailed on it with a
Make them
hammer.
wide.
And so yeah, it mushrooms out the top. And then you can thread it afterwards. And so I'm gonna need to thread these nuts, which I will try to finish up with files here. They're
like-
kind of mangled.
I like how you literally can't say these nuts.
These nuts. These nuts. This part also has, God, I love this hammer.
The hammer is not part of the guillotine build. That's just something you made for yourself, right?
Yes. So this has a couple other parts that are attached to it, including a rail on the bottom, which reinforces its path of travel down the slots.
Because that's going to be the stop position.
Yeah, so we'll install that with some nails probably. And then there's a bar that fits in some orientation, maybe on the back, maybe on the front. I'll have to check. But this protruding part here is what the release mechanism catches on. So I didn't get around to finishing those because they're really intricate. But we should be able to do a like pull and drop by the end of this stream.
I think I'd consider that a success.
So
my impression is that it acts more. It's more like the sharpness of the head. It's more like an axe than a.
Yeah, this is not that sharp.
The weight is more. It's more about the weight.
I ground it to an edge because it looks cool as hell, but this is like not really sharp. However, the sort of diagonal design is also part of how it works because it's a slicing action. Like if it was just straight across, it would just sort of like doink. But this one's like I said, very clever. Form and function. So yeah, I'm just trying to think where to start. I'm gonna put this framework off to the side, and I think maybe I'll just start on the parts that are not finished yet, so that I can start fitting those together.
Yes, get some.
And then I can start checking square and so forth with that. So this bed, which took a lot longer than I expected to get around to finishing, is part numero. This one. That one, 226 by 54.
Roll 226.
Yeah, doing everything in millimeters has been intriguing. This is not long enough. Where's my ruler? I think I may have pre-measured some of this.
That's inches, unfortunately.
We'll just do 113 twice.
Oh, if it's 226 is that's.
Yeah, it's also like
5.
the tolerances on this are not that big, especially because I'm like thinking about metalwork stuff.
You probably want a little.
Oh yeah,
bit
perfect,
away.
exactly. And my square.
Is it intentional that the two pieces are different lengths there, or is that your?
They're different lengths because I laminated them.
So that it has to be trimmed.
Yeah, so that will be cut off. And then the width might need to be changed a little bit. Although we could probably just as easily leave it wide, 54. How wide is this? Oh, no way! Okay, no, it's cocked on something else. It said 6969. This is 57. That's close enough.
Oh yeah.
I mean, aristocrats now, they're maybe a little bit, softer in the line.
I mean, if need be.
They've grown fat on our work!
If need be, we can always hold it up against a belt sander for a bit.
Yep. We have a belt sander?
I assume you have access to a belt sander.
I do.
Hey.
Um.
Do you want the woodworking platform?
Sure. Yeah, you know what? Let's move some of this stuff.
I wonder if there was the King Francois the Large is here. Bring out the double wide guillotine.
It's like 2 blades.
Yeah. Extra.
So I've been making a bunch of tools to use through this project, and somewhat shockingly, this is one of the best ones.
Oh, that's a beautiful mallet.
In a manner of speaking. I needed a chisel driving mallet, which is different from the one I think I had last time, which is like the rounded one.
Yes.
That's for carving, because you can really vary the force and angle a lot more. But for just wanging a chisel into something, you need a big cartoon wooden mallet.
Big, heavy,
to go
flat.
I love the pattern of discoloration on that.
Yeah.
It implies a certain amount of usage.
This was my piece of wood used for stuff block for a long time. So there's a staple in there, there's wood stain. It's full of drill holes. There's marks and tape. So I just put a hole through it and fitted a handle, and the damn thing worked a treat. So I was stoked about that.
Got all it needs.
I didn't bring half of the tools that would make. Actually, I can probably.
I'm also imagining, there's the National Assembly, the Revolutionary Committee. They put out, they're putting out to tender. We need a new execution device, and then there's harpsichord maker with his little model guillotine on his, and then sitting beside him is just guy with large wooden mallet. It's
Gary.
like, and the guy with the mallet is like, oh geez,
How
I
did
didn't realize how prepared people were going to be for this.
Gary, we told you to try your way once. Now it's time for Mr. Guillotine to have a go.
Yeah, your plan is way better.
Ian, how much do you know about Japanese saws?
A little.
They rule.
They really do.
I am already a fan. I only own 2 of them. So this is a Dozuki, I think. This is for. Oh yeah.
The cutting is done on the pulling.
It fits so many aristocrats on this bad boy. So that goes there. So there's that part. What else have I not finished? Those are done. Those are done. Those are done. Could I borrow your vise?
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna try and finish these off. Or I might need to remake some of them, but I'm hoping that they will work.
Come on, tap a die.
Tap a die!
Crush the bourgeoisie in a suit and a tie.
Tap a die. It's like, what industry do you work on? Tap and die. So this one, I think I have like 2 nice ones and 2 really dirty, nasty ones. The reason I was late was because I got like sucked down a hole of working on these, which are way harder than you would think. Mainly because I was turning them in the 4-jaw chuck of the lathe. And I haven't fully learned how to do 4-jaw stuff yet. And also, I haven't learned parting off, which is my least favorite part. Clutch.
Yeah.
Slow.
I'll hold that.
Oh, come on.
Gotta get it real tight. There we go.
Yeah, I think this hole was maybe a little bit snug for this tap, but I preferred that to the alternative.
Now
Sorry.
you got good, positive connection.
So now, numero.
It's slightly out of focus. Bob Ross looking approvingly from the background adds to the whole feeling of the thing, I think.
Oh, that's a happy little nut.
The petit nut. So yeah, I might come back and like mess with these a little bit. I'm pretty happy with how the bolts turned out, but the nuts turned out very uneven. But it's probably fine.
It is still a gorgeous.
Thank you. I've been working on the railroad all the last one day. Yeah, I might be at this for a little bit.
We've now officially reached the ASMR portion of the show.
Hey, I'm just gonna be filing this metal. It's like an exact S shape.
The best part about putting things in a good file like this, or a vise like this too, is that they don't move off camera.
God, please don't break. I should be using lube. This is not the way you're supposed to tap holes, FYI. Don't do as Donnie don't does.
How are you supposed to be doing it?
With a tap wrench.
Something that just holds it and has a big
And
wide.
you use lots of lube, and you just take your time. I have tightened the chuck. I'm starting to wonder if this keyless chuck is all it's cracked up to be.
I don't happen to like them myself. 'Cause you can't really wang on it.
You can't wang jangle it.
Like if you get a good chuck key and then an extender on that, oh boy.
It's just like, let's go. Our new lathe is so nice, but I'm learning all its weird little eccentricities. Like one of the big ones is the way to put it, to turn it on, is a usefully and terrifyingly close at hand lever. And I'm not sure if I should be reversing the direction on it, because to engage in the usual turning direction, which is like towards you, it's like a shifter that goes down, and to turn it off, it goes up. But there's like a little soft spot in the middle, and then the top is reverse gear. So sometimes when you try to turn it off, it just flips the other direction.
Research, but it's just a little dedent.
Yeah. It always gives me a little bit of...
It's always that interesting thing of like any new piece of equipment, especially like high-end equipment or software, or even like a house or an office or a building or whatever. Anything, you get a new thing when you've had like an old thing for a while.
Yep.
And and the old thing isn't great, and it has a whole bunch of stuff that annoys you. But it's the devil, right?
Yeah.
You know what the problems with it are.
You know how to compensate for its weirdness.
And so then you get the new one that is, objectively better in every way. But
Changes the process.
It's like
it will have, inevitably a new program or a new piece of hardware or a new house or a new whatever will have little things that you didn't notice originally or you didn't think about.
Yeah.
It's still better than what you had before, but it also has its own little foibles that you have to work out.
New foibles.
Muscle memory's a killer.
Son of a... I wanged my knuckle super hard, and it's still kind of sore. I'm hoping that it's like that's as tight as it'll go.
It's all right. I got 2 injuries on my left index finger within 2 days.
Can I get you to hold that again? Yep. I'm gonna take it easy and like go forward and backwards a bunch.
Yeah, take your time.
That's the other thing about cutting taps, is that you do actually want to go back and forth. Which is easier when you're not using a hand drill, like a power drill. I always get a little bit scared on those channels where the guys will just like take a tap like that and it just one shot right in. I'm like, because like taps are made out of like really, really hard steel.
They have to be.
Yeah, to be able to like carve the channels, and they're notorious for. Oh, I see the problem. They're notorious for like shattering, because like by nature they have to be made to that sort of tolerance.
Otherwise, they'll just dull
Otherwise, they don't
themselves.
work. But it does make them brittle. So if you're like turning it too hard, then you can get a broken tap, and then you go to hell. You go to machinist's hell.
Oh God, yeah. If you
which is one of the
inside the.
Yeah, there's entire channels devoted to
extraction.
Yeah, just watching people using EDM to.
Which is not electronic music. It's the
Yeah, it's what does it stand for?
electro
Something.
dispersion machining.
It's basically like monofilament wire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I went down a bit of a rabbit hole lately, looking at some like EDM sample
T-Bread's got it. Electro discharge machining.
stuff because Linus Tech Tips was talking about using that on their new screwdrivers for the molds of their new screwdrivers. And yeah, the stuff that they, it's
The tolerances
it's
are
a ridiculous process. But yeah, they were showing, one company was showing this thing that it's like four puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they fit together so tightly that the seam disappears.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you literally cannot see the seam, and then they just slide perfectly past each other. It's the like, it's the sort of the EDM like party piece.
Do you know what EDM is? It's a foam wire cutter for steel.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is. It's like the same concept.
Well, it's using...
Well, not the same concept, but like it uses magicalism.
It's using ridiculously high voltages to literally like atomize the metal in a very small place.
Again, I love T-Bread's explanation. It's MIG welding, but backwards.
Whoopsie doodle.
I personally have always been a fan of the of water jet based machining, but
I was sort of sheepishly amused when I discovered that water jet has abrasives in the stream.
it's not just water.
I was like, oh, okay.
But it's still not cheating. I mean, that's how ocean water works.
Yeah.
It abrades everything because of the sand.
Yeah, these nutheads are too big.
I was gonna say, I mean, I've been getting pretty into Power Wash Simulator lately, so I know a thing or two about using water to deal with stuff.
This is the ugliest of all the bolts, but these will hold. So they're not the prettiest and they're too big, but
I noticed that.
I'll
finesse
them down. They are serving their purpose though.
Well, that's one of the reasons you go to a hex bolt over a square, is there's more space to turn too.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious at this point. I think I need to make the channel. No, that's not going to fit for now. But well, since we're working on this, actually, I might still need that.
No, it's here if... Why did you do that?
I don't know, Ian. Okay, so I'm just going to gingerly grip this.
Right, because the lead...
Move it just a little bit to your right. Thank you.
Did you want a leather
Yes,
glove
please.
for that? Sure. Right back.
Because like the slightest... Oh, wow. Man, he fully died there. Get the spare Ian. So I'm going to want to install this.
It's like I saw a thing with they're talking about different or remodeling and restoring old machinery and stuff, and it's saying like usually they like sandblast the paint off stuff so they can repaint it, but if it's a particularly delicate thing, sometimes they have to soda blast
Or shot blast.
Or
with apparently the best thing is walnut shells.
Yeah.
So
That's like
walnut shells, corncob husks.
That's like one of the most like you can do it on very, very thin material that otherwise
That's the most gentle
the
one.
sandblasting will mess up.
Okay, so let's get a pilot hole.
Focused a bit.
It says that you're supposed to do this with little screws, but what do they know? I don't have little screws.
So the intention with this is to do as much as possible from scratch, right?
Yeah. So the only parts that are like prefabricated, like that I didn't make, are some nails. I think. Mm-hmm. And even those I was really quite tempted to make myself.
Really tempted.
I didn't think there were any nails in the construction.
Well, there's a few parts where it calls for small screws, but I have nails. Because those seemed more, I don't know, more accurate to me. Okay, so right there.
Now, there's some question here as to whether or not you made any wood or metal from scratch, but...
Now listen here.
Okay, so what happened is, when Alex started this project,
I planted these acorns.
he first created the universe.
If you want to make an apple pie from scratch,
It was probably a joke comment, but that said, you did pour the lead
I did.
for that.
I did an ass job of that. But next time, I will definitely be doing it in one solid pour. I was watching a channel about making a traditional sailing boat, and those kind of boats, they still use lead keels. I am gonna have to take this stupid thing apart, aren't I?
Oh no, yep, yeah.
For the ballast.
Yeah, and I watched a video where they did a pour, where they got like an old heating oil
Lead for
vessel.
the keel, that must be really heavy.
It's
How big is
very big. Well, like it's like a 1 or 2 person sailboat, but even that's still pretty big.
I mean, you consider the forces that are being acted upon the sail itself.
Yeah.
Like if you're tacking, you probably definitely want a lot of weight down there.
So yeah, they melted a whole bunch of lead inside some sort of like old heating oil thing, and then they like poured it into a big wooden mold.
Wow.
It was
You
really
just do that.
yeah. You can just do that. I mean, they were being smart about it. They all had like respirators, and it was outdoors. Not that you could do that sort of thing indoors.
Someone was mentioning actually during the last stream when you were talking about how it is very difficult to get iron.
It's almost impossible. Actually, I can leave these halfway in.
Someone was talking about like they'd seen like a YouTube video, people like smelting their own iron from, I think it was like iron deposits in like sand.
I kind of want to do that someday, but that would be like a really big, serious, like weekend project with friends. Very patient friends. Because lead is, or making your own iron is quite a production. This will also hold us in good stead in case I change my mind and want to use screws eventually.
Yeah, I'd say so. Just thinking about how much freehanding a hole like this is.
Well, fortunately, it doesn't have to be too precise.
Good point. Good point.
But yes, I'm trying to not think about it too much. There we go. So now, do I want to use brass or steel ones for this?
I think it's over on Gabriola Island where there used to be quite a, like back in the day there was quite a large iron, where they would like build up the big sort of mounds and cook. There's a whole process that you have to go through to you get the raw iron blooms and you put them in the
Don't.
put them in and then you have to like cook it for like I don't know 5 days or like you have to basically stay awake like
Constantly
carefully monitoring it for like 5 days or something stupid. But there used to be quite a production of it. I think it's on Gabriola on one of the Gulf Islands used to be sort of well known for that.
Interesting. So at least we know there's a location to source some raw iron dust.
How ironic. I brought additional hardware.
Oh.
Because I think I tried the first set of nails and they were too skinny.
Oh, so now we got some small nails there. I was thinking you were going to use those hooks as a tapping screw.
These will work, but they're too long. So
Wait, no, I'm totally wrong. It's coal production, not iron production. I was like, wait, no, that makes more sense.
Yes.
Coal production is where you have to build the big thing and do a thing.
Yeah, that makes
I don't know why I had iron in my mind for that. I mean, you also have to cook that a lot, but yeah.
Coking up the coal makes a lot more sense. Unfortunately, we won't need the coal until we're making the iron into steel, but we don't want steel, we want iron, so.
So I'm hoping this will work.
What was I watching recently that was explaining the production of Coke?
First you get the syrup, and then you get
Then you get the soda water, and then you get copyright strike.
You gotta burn the coal until there's no oxygen whatsoever. Pure carbon.
Yeah, steel production is magic as far as I'm concerned.
Right, that's why the two things are associated in my mind is that you need coke or charcoal to get a hot enough fire to forge iron. And so they were very closely associated.
But also very as pure as you can to avoid fouling up the steel with excess.
Impurities.
Impurities, thank you.
But yeah, the idea, like, whoever came up with the first person who was like, okay, what we're going to do is we'll get a whole bunch of, as much, like, wood material as we can, and then we're going to burn it, and then the stuff that's left after we burn it is going to be really good for burning.
It's going to be the better stuff.
And it was like, Dave, you're already burning it.
You can't double burn something?
Why do we need to burn it? Why do we need to burn it again? We're burning it the one time. That's what we need.
The phenomenon that changes wood into charcoal makes no sense to me. Like, I don't get it, but it involves pyrolyzing.
Oxidization, isn't it? A form of.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's the burning without isn't it the opposite? Is it burning without oxygen?
Yes.
If you let oxygen in, you're screwed.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You have to like have it. You build this huge pile and then very, very slowly burn it for like 5 days while very closely monitoring the temperature.
Yep.
And there's that's where you get things like the Shosugiban style stains. Shosugiban is the art of it's burning the exterior of wood to create a coating.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
And so I wanted to do that for some shelves I built. So instead of doing that out on my balcony, which I would not have been allowed to do, just painted it with some stains that artificially, but still do the chemical reaction of oxidizing the outer edge.
Yeah,
Oh,
where
really?
do you think that belongs?
Where do I think this belongs?
That part. That part is this part.
That part is that part.
It looks like it wants it, like, right attached to the back part.
That's what I'm reading?
That's bizarre.
Yeah, I'm wondering where the holes go on that one, too.
Well, it says small screws. This iron part.
The weight is mad of lead.
This iron part should be fastened by means of small screws. So, I guess in this instance, I will use nails.
Yeah, it doesn't even give you the information on how far it's supposed to stick out.
Yeah, I think that's sort of subjective. I'm going to just err on the side of it sticking out a lot.
You don't want your, because that's the
catch.
the cat, right? So you don't want it to go off prematurely.
Mm-hmm. This is the half of the important part of the mechanism.
Oh, then all you do is give your nobleman a haircut. That's no fun.
Dave, we're not ready. You ruined the surprise.
Everybody, there's just the like big sigh of oh from the audience.
Boo!
You know, wait, we'll reset.
That's the whole point. We can do this again. All's good. I wasn't ready to come back tomorrow.
Oh, I wasn't. Have they done a guillotine isekai?
What?
Like that.
Wait, is that
like when you
what?
get guillotined and then wake up in like modern day or something?
Oh, okay. I was just thinking, I was sent to another world without my head.
Yeah, that too.
Did you see that? I think it's some political cartoon or something that it was like guillotine, but much higher than normal, and on the other side there's just a pegboard, so that the head goes in sort of a pachinko.
I like that.
And then there's and then people can bet on which slot it's going to go in at the bottom.
Plinko, you're dead. I mean, you mentioned how high it is. I am actually surprised at how tall the guillotine is that we've...
Yeah, it's very big.
You can imagine the real one is 5 times the size of that. So
Yep.
that's about about a meter tall almost.
I'd say
28 inches. So...
Not even.
But it's got you want to make sure that the
Go ahead.
yeah 71 centimeters.
Excellent.
So yeah, less than a meter. But
One more,
Oh, that's why this is taking this much effort.
because I'm nailing through lead.
Right. Arclight Dynamo's got some pictures of the ebonized wood in the
wow.
chat there.
For some reason, the idea of nailing a piece of metal to another piece of metal never really occurred to me. But yeah.
Okay, that is never coming out.
Well, Alex, you've now just given yourself the title of most metal carpenter I've met.
Okay,
Yeah.
so...
The idea of just doing like a whole bunch of regular carpentry on just big chunks of lead
It's like today we're building out of sodium.
instead of 2x4s or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking actually about, I wonder if there, in a different world, there would have been an age of lost lead casting, where people just used lead as the medium to sculpt with.
And people got really eccentric through that area. Nobody knows why.
Yeah, no one just never put them together.
Yeah. His early work was a lot better than the later's.
Yep.
Well, we're at the top of the hour, which to me seems like
This
a
would be
good
a great
time for us to
point.
take a break. Yeah, you're looking at things to do, so we're going to do that. Run some ads, swap your fluids, stretch your legs, and come back in a few minutes with more Tinker Tailor Solder Fry. Don't go all the way away. Welcome back to Tinker Tailor Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name's Ian, and this is Alex.
We will kill the Aristo pigs.
And we are, well, finishing up some of the preliminary work on a guillotine. A 17 92 model guillotine by...
Did we talk about the last person who was guillotined?
No, we did not. I know that
If you know the answer, don't post it, but take a guess.
Yeah, we'll accept decades too, because it's an interesting one. If you need sandpaper, I have this, which appears to be 13Q.
Oh, that is really fine. I need something
this.
super coarse. Yeah, you know what? That'll
Some caution tape.
Sure. Why not?
Great. And the rest of it's 600 grit.
Oh yeah, that's,
so we got
that's
some-
the business.
We got guesses of the 70s from Furon, 1975 from Captain Clown. Morgan says, perhaps they have not yet been born.
So I'll have to look it up, but it was sometime in the 70s.
Surprisingly recent.
Yeah, so it was shockingly late in the historical account of things.
Is there any do we have any indication of when this particular model of guillotine went out of production?
Service?
Like out
Well,
of service?
The thing is that as it describes, no two guillotines were alike. Like there wasn't a sort of standardized pattern.
They're all bespoke constructions.
Yeah, they were all like original, and like this one is based around information that the person who created the template, gleaned from sort of historical records and so forth.
Right.
The old Wells Fargo, whatever, Sears Roebuck guillotine never really took off.
But that's the thing with wooden construction, like with carpentry. It's hard to get an industrial, like interchangeable parts system.
So I might. I'm going to check the measurements on these rails just in case to make sure that they're within tolerance and that I need not thin those down a bit.
Nigoki, I hope you're right about that little factoid that Christopher Lee was present at the last guillotining.
Holy smokes. Now,
He was just like walking by at the time.
I mean, given the other things I know about Christopher Lee's life, it's very probable.
you mean like the way he killed a man? We think.
Wait, with a guillotine?
Yes, I was. Of course, I was there. It was me.
I'm just going to thin down. I mean, this is going to be a sort of chicken and egg affair, where like I'm thinning down the. This part is called the mouton, I think. I'm just going to make sure that that's like nice and slender enough.
If I may.
There seems like there's a lot of guillotine-specific terminology.
Yep. I mean, where else would it be used? It's like that thing that holds the person's head. I had an insane thought in my head about making a little wicker basket, like woven by hand. Maybe like when this is fully like 100% completed, we'll do that.
We can also make that an exercise for the audience too. If you know any sort of basket weaving technologies, feel free to send them into mail time. I'm sure that they will have no problem figuring out what those are for.
I've definitely seen like little like Easter baskets that would be about the right size. It's so festive.
Ooh. I mean, I get the feeling this would go right through a peep.
So I think this needs just a little bit more sanding. If you would like to...
Yeah, I'm going to check the other. I was going to check the other one and see
you just like...
how it's doing.
I also need to figure out like which direction. I mean, it should be the same both ways.
Well, yeah, we should be interchangeable, but yeah, that's going to be a bit of it.
Interestingly, that caution tape
Yep.
is the tape that we got for the Daily Drop.
Oh!
So if you saw the old Daily Drop series we did on The Escapist, where we dropped stuff in slow motion, we had the drop area was denoted in caution tape. Like we had like a square of tape on the ground that was sort of the drop zone.
I was always really impressed with that drop zone, so that makes sense now.
So it was like a concrete, just like a bare concrete floor.
Yep. God, it smelled so bad by the end.
Yeah, which was like only partially our fault.
Yeah.
It was pretty nasty down there even before we got there. But it was a bare concrete floor, and the tape was quite, pretty sticky, and we stuck it down to the concrete floor. But it was also, being subjected to a lot of fluids.
I would bet.
And other things. And if you notice that roll of tape is no longer really tape. It's just like there's basically no stickiness to it anymore.
Yep.
And so in the later episodes, we took that tape and literally crazy glued it to the concrete in order to hold and keep it. And even that only kept it there for like a while, for like half a day of shooting or something.
Just needs to be there long enough to finish the shots. Sanding. Sandpaper's got to be up there in terms of one of the most important inventions in human history.
Yep. It's a pretty good one.
And ooh, nice.
Maybe not.
And the like move to like synthetic sandpaper, like moving to
It's like
figuring out how to do like we'll sandpaper, like taking we'll figure out how to make a standardized thing of sand and glue that is strong enough to hold it, as opposed to like shark skin or something.
Yeah, the shark skin sandpaper is probably a little expensive.
Wonder if we might want to just file down the edges of the metal bar here on the back too.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I'll do that in just a second. I'm also using the width of this chisel.
To really gouge it out.
I'm thinking that, yeah, it will probably establish a pretty good... The cool thing about having chisels that are properly sharpened is that you can use them to sort of delicately plane the edges.
Yes. Yes.
We at various times in the past we've thought about doing another run of Daily Drop
With more slow-mo.
With more slow-mo and like a higher space drop. But to be honest, the caliber of slow-mo videos on like YouTube that are available now have
it's like...
kind of outclassed like anything that we would be able to do. Are the amount of effort on our part it would be required to do, to rival or to present something that would be interesting when there's like the slow-mo guys and all these other people who have a ton of experience and resources. It's just not something that is practical.
Yeah, I mean, like other YouTube channels can be like, whoa, we got this wild thing manufactured by this other channel on their content that we're going to, throw into the ground and have it explode by explosives that are being supplied by this channel.
It just, I think it goes to show that we've thrown our specialization and our time into enhancing other areas.
Où est le mouton?
Le mouton?
Oh, ici le mouton.
Le mouton.
Et là.
That sounds smoother.
I mean, and obviously this is in no way shade on those other channels.
No.
It's sort of the
No,
opposite.
it's just like,
it's
yeah,
saying
no,
that they're so
they did
like
it so well. It's like,
it was originally kind of a response to like I think there was a show on Discovery called like Time Warp.
Time.
And maybe there are some other shows that would it did that Discovery Channel thing where they would like faff about for like they only actually had like whatever 5 minutes of slow-mo footage, and so there was a lot of like setup of like this is what we're gonna do.
Yep.
Oh, get ready for it. Commercial break.
Break.
Here's a recap of what we said we're gonna do. Are you
I
ready
hate
for
that
it?
kind of
Okay,
content.
let's do it. And then they do it, and then they like show it from 10 different angles, and then they talk about why they did it and the information about it and all this stuff. And we're like, what if we just drop a thing and that's it? It'll be, a minute long.
I can hear in my head the Mythbusters announcer. Graham and Paul have been deciding about what sort of things they want to drop in their slow motion experiment.
Yeah.
I think a watermelon would be good, but they've been deciding and spending too long, so they're going to have to wait until tomorrow.
I always thought, and maybe people have done it, but I always thought there would be it would be a great sort of underground thing to re-edit like Mythbusters episodes, which I very much enjoy, taking out all the recaps.
oh yeah,
and
they've
stuff.
done it. There's a YouTube channel that's like just the highlights.
Oh wow,
But it's like not even it's like I don't even want highlights. I just want like the
show.
show, but
I
just
think it is exactly what you're describing.
yeah, because I figure like a 42-minute show is probably 22 minutes in reality.
Are you just rounding the edges?
But faster. Oh, not just rounding the edges.
Well, I also don't want to take too much off of it, but let's. I feel like this is probably getting close.
I feel like I've just about shaped this down as well.
I'm gonna hack this.
Amazing! You can tell I'm rounding edges just by hearing what I'm doing.
Well, sure. Man, I was watching this old Tony, which is a brilliant channel about a sort of amateur machinist with a fantastic personality and very good patter. And
Side here.
he was showing how to weld cast iron, which is a very, very difficult thing to do. And he was saying that, like, he did a test piece and then he tapped it and said you can tell from the hollow sound that it's like cracked somewhere.
No.
And it just occurred to me that like the kinds of things that you end up being able to tell, like eventually,
Yeah, just by.
it's like ping. Oh yeah, that's alloy steel.
How did you know?
Yeah, that kind of deep sort of ingrained knowledge that can't really be, taught in a useful way. Often because the person who's doing it doesn't even really know that they have that information. Like, it's just something that they, like, if you were going to, teach somebody new, that they wouldn't even think that would be a skill that you would need to be taught, because it's just sort of a natural thing.
Merlin always talks about the butcher who knows about what 2.5 pounds of corned beef feels like by putting on a scale, because he's been doing 2 pounds of corned beef all his life.
Right.
How does he know it's 2 pounds of corned beef? He just knows.
He just like no scopes it.
Well, when you do that every day of your life for
I did some
30 years.
I remember doing some work with an audio tech that he was balancing microphones, like on not the volume, but like the EQ. Yeah, he was EQing microphones, and he would just like stand behind the board, and he would clap and listen to
That's
what
all
the
he
clap
did?
sounded like. And he'd be like, it sounds like maybe we're just a little bit there, and then try it again, like clap in front of the microphone.
Yeah.
And adjust it like a little bit and stuff. And he's like, I think we got it there.
Yeah. Being a professional audio engineer like that, knowing how to get the sound you want. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm mostly at the. Can everybody hear everybody? Is it loud enough?
Okay.
There isn't a huge amount of buzz on the line or something. Okay, we're cool.
I love.
Nobody's breathing heavily into the microphone or has it literally inside their shirt. Okay.
I love having that sort of institutional historical knowledge on tap, but I'm also glad we live in a world where things like Python Hi-Fi exist, which is a wonderful new program/library for Python that does the audio analysis of with frequency curves based on whatever microphone and speakers you have on hand, and then you can throw the resulting values into an EQ. Ooh.
Now that's interesting. The weight doesn't seem distributed evenly.
It's jamming because it tilts, eh?
Huh, weird.
Is that what's happening?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Watch the finger there.
Well, I'm not keeping my fingers next to it. Interesting.
I think we definitely need to make sure that the bottom is close together. I think that's where part of the problem is.
This is definitely going to take some testing.
Yeah. But I think removing all of the sharp edges is a good start.
I'm hoping that we haven't removed too much of the tolerance. Actually, I need to do some measurements to make sure that all the parts are fitting together as they should. Come on. Okay, so that's at rest. So now I need to check because the gap should be 88 millimeters, I think.
Yep.
Or exactly 80. So it's a little. I could have sworn I fixed this. Or is it maybe like that?
That looks a little bit tighter.
It is not. However, it might be pulling from a more central position. I should probably consult the plans on where it's being drawn from.
The other thing I'm questioning as well is making sure that the feet are square.
Oh yeah, that
parallel.
Too.
Yeah, there's definitely some balance there, but
That looks better though. Now why? Yeah, I
yeah, you
think
can see it like tilts and jams, right?
it should not be doing either of those things. Because
that top.
yeah, it's almost exactly the amount, and that's a real piss off because I recut these to make them close enough, but it's like a few millimeters out, which is enough to sort of bind it.
Is the eye in the top of it exactly in the center?
Yep. It might need to be off center.
Given the
Right, but of course the weight distribution of the blade is not centered. Like it's heavier on the pointy side, right?
because ideally you're just going to be releasing this, and it's
Yeah.
going to drop on its own. So where this is shouldn't matter overly. Ideally, what you're wanting is it to be able to drop of its own accord.
So yeah, the issue is definitely the top is not tight enough by a couple of millimeters. So it's dead accurate down here.
So if
See,
you
it's
if you squeeze the top together a little bit, does that
No
fix
can
it?
do because the top posts have their own recess. Definitely got to tell me when you're going to do that.
Yeah. Oop.
So yeah, so that's definitely going to cause us a problem until we fix that. Okay, in that case, we'll dismantle. So yeah, this is why it annoyed me. Is because I had these cut way too far over.
I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Am I really that stupid?
Oh no.
I think I am that stupid.
What
You see
was it?
that mark there?
Yep.
that looks like the place where you would chisel a...
Yes.
Wait, can you?
Yeah, let's get that on the.
Let's make sure we know exactly what the situation.
Okay, so you see, originally I had cut this between those two lines, and I was like, oops, not exactly right, and I had to fill this in. But you see this mark right here?
That looks like
a scribe mark that is coincidentally about the amount that the top is off by. Such a fucking Goomba.
So you need to chisel that out and then also fill in the chunk of the other side again, right?
Yeah, the filling is a little less important, but it is also, I think, something that I can do. I just can't believe I had to do it twice. And fortunately, chiseling is something that I've had a lot of practice with, so this shouldn't take too long.
Fantastic.
Yeah, this is not like a big deal. It's just sort of a dough. I'm also going to dismantle these so that they don't fall over.
Do you want me to do a bit more rounding on the...
I think this is probably fine. I think we need to... I mean, the channels might need a little bit of smoothing still.
Okay,
like you can try those. And like check the orientation so that the right side is sliding in the right slot.
Right.
Okay, so...
Is the shape of the top of the blade important?
I don't know. That's just the way it was. I didn't really think about it that much. I thought it was a little bit odd.
Like that it isn't just straight across on
Yeah.
top. Or I was thinking if it was like if the blade was more of like a parallelogram, I guess, so that it was actually equally weighted.
That could be it.
Because it's clearly like when it tilts, it's tilting towards the heavier side, obviously.
So this is a good smooth action here, mostly. Could use just a bit of it. This one has a wee bit of chiseling that's going to need to be done probably a little bit later.
Okay.
From there to there, there is a lip in the channel.
Several people in chat object to you bad mouthing Goombas.
Yeah, the Goombas have really put a lot of effort into reforming themselves over the past few years.
Have they?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they've got jobs now. They've got some of them are miners, some of them are explorers, soccer players, I think.
Oh, I'm not talking about them Goombas with jobs, you know, the good ones.
Wasn't that Goomba?
That was satire.
Wasn't there a Goomba that can join your party in one of the like Mario?
Yeah, I thought she was like a cave explorer or something.
One of the like Mario or Paper Mario games.
There's a couple of them, at least. Yeah. Because Goombalina is in it. Where is Heather when you need her?
Also, that purple ghost. What's her deal? You know the one I'm talking about, right?
Now I'm not sure I do.
You can't see her eyes?
Oh, yeah.
What's her nose? Rumple, fang, dongle, wingle, blangle, crongle.
Rumple, probably not best to quote Space Moose on here.
I know exactly what you're talking about, too.
Kids are welcome to look that up at home if you like, but it's definitely a not invented here syndrome.
Vivian, yeah. I think that's the one. Yeah, is she just like a ghost or like some sort of weird...
Sadly, I've never played the games.
Yeah, me neither. And there we go. See?
That was quick.
I know, right? Practice. So, to just sort of briefly talk about what I was doing there, this one that I'm using isn't like a proper mortising chisel, but it works in a pinch. So I'm going down as straight and square as I can, and then levering out waste, which smooths the sides. So you'll get a slot exactly the width of the chisel.
Perfect. I like that.
Yeah. So I'll just tidy that up. And then if I can just swipe those uprights from you, you can do a cheeky little upside down fit just to check the width.
Still got a little bit of a lip there, but that's something that'll have to be dealt with later.
Okay.
Or if ever.
So that one, and then
Okay, and you've got the extra space in just where it's going to get filled in.
So I'm just going to push these together, and then I just need to measure that.
Use the measuring clamp.
God, I love this thing. Oh, yeah. That's just like the slightest bit tight, but it's like within less than a millimeter.
Within parameters?
Yep. So
nice.
Then what I'm going to do is sneeze. I'm sorry. Wow, sorry, Paul. Oh, brother. We need to make a little shim.
Do you think that's where the phrase shimmy comes from?
What?
When you shim something up, where the phrase to shimmy?
No, I thought shimmy like referred to the sort of like oscillating movement.
I thought it was like making small movements, yeah.
So I'm just going to cut off a little chunk.
Just wide enough to go in the hole.
Wow, that really went off. It's fine, it's just a shim. So now,
take a pencil measurement.
Shim shimmity, shim shim, shim
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 sharoo.
Now there's a man who never shimmied.
I'm just going to clean up the bottom of this slot so that it'll seat properly. So then, I'm actually just going to mark this with my knife. Actually, I can probably just try splitting that.
Ooh.
Oh, achoo! Damn it.
Oh.
It's fine.
That's not
I was punished for my hubris. Yeah, that's what I get for trying to be cool.
On the internet.
Yep. Can't have that.
Can I borrow your calipers for another moment?
Go for it.
Thank you. I just realized that I was making a joke with the tweet, but I actually do need to measure my head right now.
What?
Yeah, I'm working on something at home.
Your head is too big for...
It's a secret, but
Okay.
I do need to know how wide my head is. 121, that's more than I thought. So I'm going to probably need 125. Yeah.
There we go.
Probably at least.
That's like... Oh, god damn it. Did it like break unevenly again? Son of a bitch.
Yeah, 140, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
5th time's the try. Or the... I really wish I had my plane, because then this would be easy.
Oh,
You need to codify just how big your brain is. Is that?
no. Jaded Syndicate suggests making a welder's mask, which is a good idea. No, it is not that.
Actually, a welder's mask would be great.
I'd like to make one of those ones with the special the auto darkening.
Yeah, those ones are cool, especially because they're like solar powered.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I say solar powered, they're welding powered. Because that weld arc is very bright.
Mm-hmm.
I like they have a very that very like Hitchhiker's Guide. You know, when something dangerous happens, it goes entirely black, thereby removing the sight of anything dangerous and keeping you relaxed.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that this. Sorry about that. Gosh. Yeah, one of the things that I ended up learning was how to, like, cover up your mistakes. So just a little bit of glow right there. And there.
Just a little bit of glue, and anybody who knows the truth, that's what the guillotine is for.
Yep. And if you tell anybody about this, we will find you, and we will be very sad. So I left that with a little bit more tolerance than it needs.
Mm-hmm.
Get in there. Get in there.
Like, I feel like wood glue is probably it's the secret that all woodworkers know about, that I think no one who doesn't work on wood regularly thinks about. I honestly thought to myself that, oh yeah, they just use nails and oh, that's beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
And because it's the underside, you'll never see it.
Well, you might see it for once, and then never again.
It's like, I demand to be guillotined face up so I can look at the flaws in your, like, shoddy construction. It's like, yes, as I thought, this police state is nothing but a sham with, like, poor workmanship and schlunk.
Did he say shim?
What? Hey, he's dissing our union job. You know what we do to the guys diss the union job.
Wait, here we go. The origins of shimmy
Ooh.
are believed to have come from a vaudeville tap dance routine in the early 1900s called the Shim Sham Shimmy.
Really?
A song called The Bullfrog Hop mentions doing the shimmy from 1908.
Okay, so that's the first one then?
Shim, 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 and a shimmy.
That's the first, at least, reference that they've found.
The bullfrog hop.
80? 79.5. Yeah, it's got like a little tiny bit of wiggle, but
0.5 is 0.5 of a millimeter.
like that's really good for woodworking.
Yeah. I mean, like that's English cars levels of tolerance.
Ouch!
It's you're complimenting Alex and also insulting English cars.
Yes.
It's sort of a double.
And I bet no one's going to tell me I'm wrong.
Looks like the right post is not quite in its.
Seated.
Sit! Sit down. I should have brought clamps.
Bring out the clamps.
I'm champing for a clamping.
That's the one good thing about the measuring application on an iPhone, is the level included in it.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't trust it that much personally, but
Honestly, I given the sensors for things like acceleration and compasses like that, I would trust the level quite well, except for one thing, and that's that the phones, because of the big ol' camera bump, don't sit level on a table.
I know. Just I'd be cool with the phone being a millimeter
second.
thicker use that for a slightly larger battery.
Yes.
And make no camera bump. You used to do it. You could do it again.
Why is it like off center either way?
So is the pin centered?
Well, you've been
Yes, sir.
you've been pushing it over and over and over, right?
Yeah, that's true.
When you adjust it. Is it now too tight?
No, like the tightness is good, but like there's still some friction in the slots. Like, god damn it. You know what we should maybe do next is work on like pinning this bottom section, because this seems pretty good.
Do we have any like clamps or anything that we could just use
Well,
to
no,
attach
like, we have to do this anyway, so like I'm pretty confident with this fit. I think we could actually like formalize it, because this would be an important one to do.
Yeah.
So let's do that, because that should be a pretty simple affair. I don't know if it says to do it, but I'm going to do it anyways, because fuck you. This is my guillotine, and I'll build it the way I want.
That's not
I'm
my
not
guillotine.
a part of your system. Dad's not a phone. Duh.
That's a reference I haven't heard in a long time.
Oops, sorry.
That's all right.
I've been so chaos brain working on this. Okay, so. Okay, so just check this one last time. 0.
That's a nice thing too, because if it's pinned, the pins will
80.
still allow a bit of flex. In
Yeah,
this
exactly.
direction.
Could I have the pencil? There was a pencil around here.
We didn't have a pencil. I'll get one.
I swear I brought a pencil. Oh, thank you. I'll show you. I mean, maybe you know about this trick, but like, I'm sure other people will enjoy it as well.
Oh, for center finding?
Yep.
Yeah. This is a really good one.
How do you find the center? Well,
Math.
well, I guess.
It
doesn't feel like math.
Well, geometry rarely does, but it is technically one of
So
the
I want to
maths.
find the dead center of this, like arbitrarily. So we're going to do it the easy way, where we draw a square, and then we bisect the square,
with an X. You son of a...
and literally X marks the spot.
Ooh.
That's the center.
It's like those terrible, drawing tutorials. First draw a circle, then draw a line through the circle, and then find the center of the circle. That's how you get the center.
Yeah, circle is a little bit more difficult. Oh, now I'm just thinking about those old geometry videos set to the tune of Cruel Angel's Thesis.
What on earth are you watching?
Oh, it's some really cool stuff. Videos about basic trigonometry specifically.
May I have the... actually, do I want to pilot hold this?
I think you do.
Yeah, we want to pilot hold it. Wait, no, I don't, because I can use the bolt heading tool
As
a guide.
Bit of a guide.
which is one of the reasons that I made it.
Yeah, that's pretty tight.
Did you ever want to drill things really, really straight? I did. It was terrible. So we'll get that started. And now we will drill straight. I should put this in high gear.
And it's just long enough that it works as a good stop. You
Oops.
found 10 minutes.
Ying.
And that's why we don't do this on our
I
good
wish we had
tabletops.
I wish we had a pencil sharpener. Wait a minute. That's the wrong size. I could have sworn this was 3/16. Can you find out what this is? Okay, the good thing is that it's undersize.
Yeah.
So
So you've made your pilot hole.
what is this now? 1/4 inch.
1/4.
Nope, 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 nope. No, I mean, I guess I may as well do this other pilot hole.
It says that should be 3/16. But you need 1/4 inch.
I need a 1/4 inch.
Okay, so that is 1/4.
Did that go through? Yeah, it went through. Yeah, I'd been meaning to make one of these for ages because I really wanted something that I could.
That's a great solution to not having a.
A drill press?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, there's a shocking amount of stuff you can do with hand tools with a little bit of innovation. Did that go through? That went through. And we'll do this one.
Oh, look at that oak.
See, if I kept drilling, you'd get like green and then black jean material and then blood.
And that's when you know to stop.
It's like, oh, time for hopsicle. Whoops, that went too far. That is better.
Now I'm excited for another good use of that Japanese saw.
This is actually not even the correct saw for this operation. There's another saw that is even thinner and completely flexible. That's for flush cutting. So I got to get one of those.
Dang straight.
Right? How does it keep finding the exact hole that it could get lost in? Yeah, that's fine. Boop.
Yeah, it's all going to get sanded down later. Okay.
Ta-da! So that's now never coming apart unless we want it to, in which case we can knock the pins out. So up here, I guess we want to, you know what would be great? I wish we had some more varieties of sandpaper, because like wrapping the blade itself in a little bit of sandpaper and just like running it back and forth, that would be pretty.
I've been trying to
That'd be pretty hot.
expand it out as I use it in the channel.
So yeah, let's check that tolerance again, because I don't want to take too much more material off of the blade itself. I think those channels are still like kind of, I think it's proud they call them.
Yes.
Proud and true, which are opposites in like fabrication parlance.
I was understood as standing proud, which is to say above where you're supposed to
Oh, I never thought about that.
And if you're too proud, you're going to get smacked down.
With a hammer, I think.
be. The nail that sticks up gets welded shut. That's what they always said.
That's very ominous. Yeah, see, like even up here, it's still kind of tight. Ooh, that is way tight.
Ooh.
So the top needs work. Okay,
And it is in the right orientation, right?
I believe so.
Yes, that's according to what my
So
understanding.
get that. So then that's still kind of stiff. It's nice here, and it's fairly nice to the bottom. But like, yeah, the top portion here, it's stiff. And then, oh, like right at the very bottom, there's some chunk.
There's got to be some old saying about the squeaky guillotine.
The squeaky gee.
The squeaky gee is what happens when. I was trying to think of like a martial arts joke.
Yeah, I think it's the squeaky wheel that gets the ghee if you're out of oil.
Wait, the clarified butter?
Yeah, which I will keep hammering on this. Please try clarified butter for your cooking if you haven't already. It's really good.
I
guess
believe
if your guillotine has started to squeak, that just means you aren't executing enough people.
Yep.
It hasn't been properly lubricated with the blood of ghee.
It's lonely.
Yeah.
It wants Aristo pig dogs.
I think it's in Blackadder. They have these zealous Protestant people are like, should I light a fire? No. Or should I light a fire in the fireplace? No, the cold weather is just God telling us to burn more Catholics.
Oh, Blackadder is very good. Wicked child! We shall have raw turnips. Yeah, that's the episode where Blackadder has to try and keep the meeting with his like extreme religious relatives who are about to discuss his inheritance. He has to keep that separate from a like wild drunken party with the nastiest guys in town.
Yes.
Doesn't work so good.
This is the episode with the great booze
Great
up.
booze up.
Edmund.
And the turnip that looks like a thingy.
Exactly the same shape as a thingy.
I really am going to have to watch that series.
Yeah, have you not seen it?
I have not.
Oh,
It's
man.
somehow snuck under the radar.
I would love to like make that happen for you. I'm gonna try the rasp.
The first series is different than the other
It's
ones.
so weird.
But it's
like very weird.
It's still good, but it's different.
It's very different.
And then the second, third, and fourth series are all amazing.
Yep.
And also they have basically like all the awesome English comedy actors that you know from other stuff.
Of the era.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
Even Chris Berry is in it.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, he's in a couple of episodes.
Well, oh right. Yeah, I think he plays one of the aristocrats or something. And you've got Rick Mayall as Lord Flashheart.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at the time. I was like, oh, that guy. I realize that in combining these together now, I've made it a little bit more difficult to access them.
But, I mean, you're trying something.
I just wish I had like way coarser sandpaper.
Yeah.
Today on Let's Sand.
There's they did a reunion show, I think in the year 2000. Like it was ostensibly at like the New Year's, but they were sort of celebrating the New Year, and they had them all, they had them all sort of playing the old parts again and stuff, and it fit very well. Also, Miranda Richardson had not changed at all.
Dang.
It's amazing.
So
I love
I
actresses
caught
like
up
that.
on Red Dwarf last winter, and that show's interesting because like it starts to slip around like I think season 7. I hate to say it,
Yeah.
but like introducing Kachansky kind of made the series worse. Mainly because the writing for her character was bad. It's like, I'm a lady. Here are the standard lady jokes.
That's
Well, and it's also like her she like her function at like as a you know in relation to Lister.
Yeah.
Like she was this sort of fantasy that he only actually dated her for like a week, I think.
If that, yeah. So like,
And so, you know, 3 million years ago, he dated this girl for a week, and she's like this unattainable thing. That,
yeah, bringing it into like the actual mainstream, but
to actually have her as like a real character in the show didn't never really work, I didn't think.
yeah.
too much.
And they did something really weird in, I think, season 9, where they did this like thing where they visit themselves, but it's like them visiting themselves as like actors.
Yeah.
And
It definitely goes.
it was also doing like this weird sort of like Blade Runner parody, and it did not work at all. But I think around like season 10, it got back on the horse and was doing a lot more sort of like Monster of the Week, like idiots in space kind of stuff. Oh, perfect.
I mean, there's definitely like a Simpsons thing where it's like, oh yeah, you know, the earlier stuff is better, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it was a surprisingly long-running show for what it was.
It was also a very unexpected show, like a sci-fi comedy. Mm-hmm. Are you insane? That'll never fly on network television.
But yeah, my favorite episodes were always my favorite little like character bits was always the stuff of them like, you know, this idea of like, what do you do on this ship that is as big as a small city? And there's nobody else. Like you see little bits of their lives where they're like, they have like a game where they just like randomly go into the locker room and like they get to choose a number and open that locker, and you get to keep whatever's in that locker.
Like Storage Wars.
It's an amazing exercise in environmental story writing.
And you know the sort of low key joke of, you know, Rimmer and Lister, who ostensibly hate each other, staying as roommates, the only two people in this entire whole place. But somehow, you know, that's sort of this deep, this weird thing that they still want to be around each other, at least.
So it's starting to get there, it sounds like.
Actually, could I get 2 small strips? I think we might be able to put it around the actual thing at this point, which would be the perfect sanding tool.
I was going to suggest, hey, we should use the stickers to stick them on, but absolutely bloody not, because that would leave adhesive on the edges where we want it to flow.
Okay, so I was like, do I have something? No, I'm just gonna. I was like, do I have scissors? Yes, I do.
There's a couple of pretty good books too in Red Dwarf,
including their manual, which was one of my favorites as a kid.
Bloody brilliant.
written by Grant Naylor, who's actually 2 people.
Wait, what?
Doug Grant and Bob Naylor. Who did they for a while they just it was just listed as Grant Naylor as one person.
I did not know that.
Did they do anything else?
I mean, they probably had breakfast and like slept in a bed. You know, shopped occasionally, saw their mom. There were a lot of like extremely good episodes to that show. Mm-hmm. Like the one where they go to the planet where there's all the like wax recreations of famous historical figures, and Rimmer takes it as his like invitation to greatness and like marshals them in this big like final suicidal charge against the like bad guys. The best, some of the gags in there are just like dialogue. So like, because at one point they're in prison and Lister's like looking out the window and he's just like, you know, they're leading somebody to a firing squad. It's Winnie the Pooh. He's refusing the blindfold.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the great thing of because it was filmed live, like it was a single camera thing, like in front of an audience.
Wow.
Yeah,
And so the great thing of people like looking out the window, just describing what they're seeing rather than actually doing it.
But you can get away with so much that way too.
This is not quite. I think it's like the tolerance has become a little bit too harsh. You bastard! You vex me. I need like something really aggressive.
And of course, the classics like the backwards episode. And
That one's so good. The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse won, like, I hesitate to say an Emmy, but it won some sort of award for being extremely good television. Hello. Thank you, Ian.
Point first, but not.
But yeah, I think season 10 is the not reboot, but they actually like
Finally catch up with Red Dwarf.
No, they brought the show back a few years ago.
Yeah, in the modern era.
Season 10. Because of course they've all all the actors have gone on and done other stuff. Craig Charles was on.
He did the BattleBots for many years, didn't he?
And he was on a long-running British like soap opera. Or
Was he?
is he on like Coronation Street or something?
What? I don't think I could possibly take him seriously.
He was on some very. He played a serious role. Yeah, it was
Coronation Street. No shit.
Wow.
That's wild. I mean, that's like when I watched this dramatization of Chernobyl quite some years ago, and I think Legazov, one of the main guys who was in charge of the liquidation was Ade Edmondson. And I didn't notice it like until afterwards. I was like, what the fuck?
On Coronation Street, he didn't have the dreadlocks, of course, but
Well, okay, obviously. You mean that was a costume?
I mean, this is like learning that Gates McFadden was a soap opera star as well. Before Next Gen.
People lead different lives. Oh man. So
actors can be in different things.
I am now
Until you're in a genre picture.
I am now sort of like on a break from my like massive Star Trek binge, which went from Next Gen all the way up to Enterprise, which was stankin'.
Enterprise
show's
is
bad.
what broke you? You were
No,
like, you
well,
know what? I don't want any Star Trek
Honestly,
anymore.
it didn't actually break me. I just looked for Discovery and it wasn't on Netflix, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm watching Seinfeld now.
Discovery, yeah, I think that's still tied up on
Whatever.
Paramount Plus, I think is what it's on in Canada. Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Enterprise was very dank. Very dank indeed.
It had some interesting ideas.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing that kind of, hang on a second. Ooh.
That sounded pretty
That's, yeah.
Okay, hang on a second.
Try it again with that.
Whoa.
Looks like there's a bit of a wedge spot at the top there.
Yeah. Well, I guess just like, yeah, right at the very top. So
But yeah, that tight. It looks like it's definitely tight enough now that it's not wedging out, like it's not rotating in the slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still gotta like take some more shavings off of. Yeah, it was just so bad. Like it actually made me appreciate Voyager more, because Voyager was a mess and very silly and had some very questionable bits, but it was like through and through a Star Trek show.
Yeah.
It was a show like that was pretty consistent with the idea of what Star Trek was. It's like, we're flying around. There's a planet. Let's check it out. Oh, it's people with backwards culture. I guess we'll, interact with them in some way.
It's a heavy-handed allegory for something that is happening in the real world.
Could I get another fresh piece of sandpaper? Thanks. And yeah, they lean pretty hard on time travel. But Enterprise is just like...
Talk about leaning hard on time travel.
Well, I mean, also, you want to talk about heavy-handed allegories? In, like, Season 3, when there is a terrorist attack on Earth, and then they go flying out into the ass end of space, looking for weapons of mass destruction. Mm-hmm. It's like...
When did that actually come out?
2003, I think. I was like, hey, maybe we can do our 9/11 metaphor now.
Yeah. They had the Star Wars to go from.
Yeah.
Say, hey, maybe prequels aren't such a good idea. They seem like an easy win. We just need to fill in the holes.
What were we thinking about? Oh, right. We were talking about something. There's the Star Wars prequel syndrome, which is when something is, universally declared not very good, and then the next thing comes out, and people are like, oh, we didn't know how much worse it could get. That was it. Maybe that thing wasn't so bad.
It's a weird sensation. I'm sure there's like a fancy German word for it.
Probably, yeah.
I probably still need to.
I watched the Voyager a few years ago using a guide of like, these are the episodes that you can skip.
Right, that was Max Temkin's guide, right?
I don't believe in those.
Maybe, I don't know. But it's just like, and when you watch all the like good / plot episodes.
Well, here's the GIF.
For one thing, it's very short.
Mm-hmm.
There's only about 7 to 10 episodes per season instead of 25 or whatever.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's pretty solid.
Oh, I am excited.
Yeah, let's throw a few more pieces together onto here.
Because we don't have the trigger latching mechanism. That's
No.
okay. That's okay.
That's okay.
We can hand drop.
Yeah, the like guillotine purists that are like, we didn't have no, trigger mechanism. We had to like drop it by hand. You had to look them in the eyes.
I refuse. Refuse to kill another man until it is automated.
Nice. Boop, boop.
Yeah, I have heard very good things about Strange New Worlds. I haven't seen it though.
It is very... I enjoy it.
I got through most of the second season of Discovery and then fell off that one.
Yeah, I got disappointed more as Discovery went on.
Yeah.
But that said, the nice thing about TV... I was going to say the nice thing about TV is that it's not going anywhere. You can always come back to things later on, but
I think I installed this backwards.
Yep.
Oh no, it's going to put
okay.
people's heads back on now.
God, can you imagine?
And yes, Lower Decks is great.
Oh yes.
I think I need to go back to actually watch that show now that I have way more like meme context.
Oh, now that you've seen Next Gen, yeah, you will absolutely get all of the good stuff out of it.
And to be honest, I recommend the Orville. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I keep hearing this from people, and so
it's got some rough bits to it, but it has a very next gen feel. It's clearly, Seth MacFarlane is clearly a ridiculously huge next gen fan.
Now this is interesting.
Yeah, that's backwards.
I don't know which ass I have backwards here. No, that's correct.
Ah, it's you want the
Oh,
flat sides
the
of the
bolts are backwards.
Whoopsie doodle.
Oh man, that's funny. I was like, why is the tolerance all messed up on that? And I was like, oh, I installed all of these like fasteners backwards.
All right. Well, in that case, let's say you two flipping around those bolts, and then let's see if we can't chop something in half before we shut it down for the night.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Great.
Because like that's gonna have to work this way. I was like, why is the clearance all whack?
Oh, I have done this so many times that it's not even. This is just par for the course. I need something to knock these pins out of this. I recommend the pins themselves.
I try. Hang on. There we go. I'm going to be real gentle in these.
What was I reading? It's King of the Hill. Like to joke about the fact that they created their episodes by just watching old episodes of the Andy Griffith Show and swapping out the words Andy for Hank.
Nice.
That's very silly.
But only when they were being incredibly lazy.
Ah, that's nice and tight tolerance. And the tops of those can be ground off too. We're almost there. Oh, we are halfway there.
Now, Beach was imploring me to point out that I am an ordained minister of the Universal Life Church, which means I also do hold a title of rabbi with them. The problem is that I'm not entirely. I know all moils are rabbis, but I'm pretty sure not all rabbis are moils.
It requires I feel like it probably requires like at least I feel like it probably requires an extra level of training.
It's like honors with distinction. The distinction is.
It's like an extra course you can take.
Yeah.
You can choppy.
Oh, hey, good. We got another ULC minister in the chat there.
Wait, really?
Yeah, Jaded Cynic. Hello.
Yeah, these nuts are definitely... These nuts? I might have to leave one of them off just because it's like not gonna cinch
I don't know.
down.
I don't know if we have to leave one off. That might...
Well, I'll cinch it down as best I can.
I think it'll be fine.
These nuts. God, those look ugly. But the back looks nice. Whoa.
Oh, that sounded smooth.
That is some dead Aristo pig.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, no, that's correct. We'll get that there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing any fancy sort of knot, just like a...
Just needs to hold.
So then this goes here.
Mm-hmm. And that holds up the table.
And that is the table.
Yep.
And the table goes there.
Good, good. I'm
And
liking this so
sits
far.
just a little higher. And the top of the bascule goes there.
Okay.
Just barely. I'm going to use a piece of tape here just to hold those on.
That's a good idea. The best part is it doesn't show on camera.
May I have the carrot?
Absolutely. Now, I want to mention to any of our viewers from the Netherlands that this is not directed at you in any way.
It's a little stiff still.
That feels sticky, but
Okay. Come on. Oh, come on. Yeah.
Again!
It's a lie!
Oh, 2022 keeps ringing up the hits here on Tinker Tailor's Solder Fry.
That's so satisfying.
That is so cool. Oh, I cannot wait to have you on again sometime in the future, Alex, to demonstrate this in its glory.
You can see, like, it's now functional. There's a lot more, like, little tiny finessing work that needs to happen.
But this is absolutely proof of concept has been 100% proven. The pudding has been eaten, the proof has been made, and the carrots are much shorter than they were before. So
it may not be the most efficient way of making a salad, but you know what? It's worth it.
it is the most satisfying, I'm going to say.
It's very cool.
So with that, I'm going to call that an episode here for Tinker Tailor Solder Fry. Thanks so much, everyone, once again for watching. Reminder that you can help us out by going over patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, helping us out there, helping us out over at twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun. And of course, at store.loadingreadyrun.com. Thank you once again, everyone, for watching, and we will see you in a fortnight's time, never in Fortnite, though, and ever forward, learning out of spite. Au revoir.